So yeah, thank you, Gavin, for coming in today, and especially thank you for taking the time to have a little discussion around climate change, sustainability. I'm pretty much myself still on the learning journey, learning about what climate change is really about. But there's a lot of scientific publications already, so I'm just reading some of those to know where we are, where we stand. And the second reason for doing these series of interviews is really about what we can do as global citizens, basically, to reduce the climate change that is ongoing, because we're already on the journey of climate change, and it's about how can we slow it down or even stop the negative impact that we're having on the environment. So thank you for taking the time this morning to have a short discussion. Maybe let's start with who you are and what you do in New Zealand.
Okay, first I will say thank you. I feel honored to be this. I'm Gavin Lai, and I come to New Zealand for study. So studying in Victoria, doing my PhD research. Environment protection, I think, is a very good topic, and I like to discuss with you. Share my opinions.
Excellent. Thank you so much. One of the questions I had is so on a global scale, obviously, as global citizens that you and me are, and many others, of course, what do you believe is the impact that we could have to stop the global warming and thus the negative impact on the climate change that we are having? What do you believe is kind of the low-hanging fruit, if there are any?
The positive thing is, like, now I got consciousness that if I can be like environment friendly. So this consciousness is quite important. So I think what I can do is like since I got the consciousness, what I need to do is to start with my action. But I do have like a concern. Like I know I like to be environment friendly, but sometimes I feel lost. I don't know how. Like every day I got so many like rubbishes, right, where I take out of my room, and I'm wondering where this rubbish go, and are they friendly to the environment? And I want to make this whole planet a better place, but sometimes I'm not sure what I can do or how can I do that. So I think if I got more opportunities to know this knowledge, like, or take part in some activities like organized by the museums, they tell us like what kind of materials can be friendly and what we can do, I think that will be a better guidance for individuals.
Cool. So you mentioned two things. On one side, you kind of are looking for probably more information about the things we can do as individuals. And then the second topic is around the consumption of a lot of products that come with a lot of packaging, a lot of wrapping, and you throw away a lot of the things that you buy. You have to throw them away. Especially in New Zealand, the recycling is still a journey that we're on. We're not quite there yet. So do you believe really on the knowledge part that for a lot of people there is still a journey to go on to learn about climate change and to learn about options on what is sustainable and what isn't quite as sustainable?
I think actually people now, I'm assuming like people got the basic knowledge. But in real life, I sometimes do got confused, like what I can do specifically, like today, this moment, I can like improve our environment. So if if I myself can be confident to do everything that can be friendly to our environment, I just do it. But sometimes I know I have to, I'd like to do that, but I don't know where to start. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in real life. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and especially if you consider the the buying the buying of products or services even in New Zealand, because of where we are, a lot of the products that we consume, that we buy, aren't produced here. So everything that has to come here obviously comes with almost a horrible CO2 or carbon footprint, because it has to be transported either by plane or by boat. Both cases, it's having a very significant carbon footprint, and the pollution from airplanes and from boats is it's not ideal, to put it very mildly. So that is one thing. So it's I feel for a lot of consumers, like people like you and me in New Zealand, we don't always know the product that we're buying. Was it made in New Zealand, or was it imported, and where has it been imported from? Is it coming from the other side of the globe? Like the other day I was doing my groceries and I was buying some salmon, some smoked salmon, because I like smoked salmon, and I noticed on the packaging that the salmon that was the cheapest in the supermarket was actually coming from Norway, which, from a sustainability perspective, that doesn't make sense. We have perfectly good salmon in New Zealand.
Yeah.
We do not need to import it from Norway. So those kind of considerations, I think, yeah, I agree with you. There's still some learning, some education, and also maybe making it clearer to consumers where the product is coming from, and what the ecological footprint of that particular product is. And similarly, the other way around, as New Zealand, we do export a lot of, especially our agricultural products like milk powder, meat, and one has to think about how sustainable is that growing a lot of lamb and beef, and producing a lot of milk and milk powder, that's all good and well, but then exporting it 10,000 or 20,000 kilometers on the other side of the globe, is that sustainable? Is that so? Yeah, it's one of those ones where I'm also on the fence. And then you come into what we discussed earlier. How does that tie in with economic development? So where do you put the balance on? Yeah.
First, I'd like to say I totally support globalization. So I'm positive on like trading between different countries. Like you said, Norway salmon transported here. I think the thing itself is good, because we got salmon here in New Zealand, but we can still have a taste of different salmon from other countries. People are still pursuing better or good quality life. But the thing is, like, when we are doing the transportation, we can be friendly, environment friendly, but it depends on our technology. So the thing itself, like, the training is not bad, it's a good thing, but it's just the transportation thing. So I do believe our technology can solve the problem, like the whole journey can be environment friendly. And actually its business is good. And also, like you mentioned, also New Zealand, like I'm from China, so we like New Zealand stuff, especially the agricultural products. New Zealand is famous for milking products. China, of course, also we got lots of places producing milk, but we'd like to try New Zealand stuff. It's a good thing, right? It's famous, it's healthy, right? Why not? But the thing is, like, transportation nowadays may still got like you said, like fossil stuff to make the environment not so good. But if we can make the transportation like powered by like nuclear power or like solar power.
Mm.
Yeah. So I think it's relates to technology development. Yeah.
So you're expecting on that logistical journey, you're expecting a lot of technological advancements and
Yeah. Because I think this is two issues. Because I don't want to see like we sacrifice globalization for a better globe, but this doesn't make sense. I think these two things can be, I know, it's not that contradictory to each other. So,
Yeah.
so I think we can make a good balance there.
Yeah, it's a good point that you mentioned, because what I've read also is that a lot of people that deny climate change, that pretend that there is no climate change, they say, oh well, technology will solve everything anyway. So for some people, it's an excuse not to adapt their behavior. But at the same time, there is a big potential to use technology to our benefit. And well, today is a good day to have this interview, because the UK yesterday announced that they're opening a coal mine, which obviously from a carbon emissions standpoint is probably the worst thing that you can do. But then, yeah, there is a discussion to be had. If you want to make steel, you know, what kind of energy do you have? What alternatives do you have today, and what alternatives will you have tomorrow to, you know, still continue generating steel? Because, you know, if you have an economic development, that's a you know, major part of it, I guess. And you mentioned you're from China. I'm assuming in China they also make a lot of steel. So it's also, okay, how do you power all those furnaces to you know, heat ores and generate steel products? There's not a lot of choice currently. So from that perspective, yeah, there's still a discussion to be had.
I think it's like a journey. It's like a long journey to, like, if we got like economic development, we got money, got dollars, then we can support our research, technology research and development. Yeah. If we don't have money, we can do nothing. Yeah. Even cannot improve our technology. Nobody can do the better research about how to protect our environment. Yeah. So I think economic development, especially like you mentioned, developing countries, to put it like a priority, like we have to. And in this journey, I think step by step, now we got consciousness, and then but we just need to put it into practice, like as fast as we can. Like, but I don't support like to sacrifice economic development, to stop economic development and to protect our environment. I think these two can go together, like move forward together. And I also noticed that you mentioned a point of view like somebody don't believe in climate change. I also noticed this opinion, and I think first I think we can show those people some evidence if we can. This is a good one. And also if we cannot show, it's still a good thing for us to protect our environment, right? No matter it's changing or not, but this thing itself is a good thing, right? It like to be environment friendly. So I cannot get the sense of those people. Like, sounds like if it's the climate change, it doesn't change, so we don't need to protect our environment. No, right? But we still need to protect our environment. So yeah.
So it's also a matter of better be safe than sorry, and being on the cautious side, even if, you know, global heating is maybe not going to 4 or 5 degrees, which would be catastrophic. Even if it's going only to 1.5 degrees, it's still going to be pretty dramatic for instance, the Pacific Islands, with the rising of the ocean. So yeah, I totally agree. And that kind of leads me to the question: how important is living a sustainable lifestyle for you? Is it something that you wake up with and think, oh, I need to be sustainable today, or is it more kind of an afterthought when you're consuming and you realize that you're throwing away a lot of packaging and stuff, and you go, oh, I've bought this, and now I'm, within 24 or 48 hours, I'm already going to throw away a part of what I bought, and what is happening with that? Or is it more kind of a conscious journey that you're constantly thinking about the options we have and the choices we make on a day-to-day basis? Where are you on that spectrum?
But to be honest, I do have like daily like worry about like the rubbish is what's gonna happen if I throw them out. Like, will they be environment friendly? I know that I myself is quite sustainable conscious, but like I said, I don't know what to do. Cause I got the packages here, they are plastic, and I have to throw them into rubbish, and the rubbish will go away. But the whole thing will cause the problem. Like, how can we? I feel confused, but I do. Each time I got this question or concern in my heart, like if I can be a better citizen, like to make the whole thing sustainable. Yeah. But just sometimes I don't have a very clear clue, like, because the things I need or like to is already packaged, and this package I can do nothing about this, like plastic thing, like even clothing, food, everything, and like even one day's rubbish is so much. Yeah, like even one for one day, it's a whole bag. So I do hope like in my daily life, this kind of guidance can be more specific, like what I can do to make the whole thing sustainable.
Yeah. There's also a thought that as individuals, the small changes we're willing to make, or the small sacrifices we are willing to make, are maybe not good enough. And so some people or some opinions are that government should enforce certain things much stronger than they currently are, around, for instance, packaging, around heating, around insulation, and so on. So what is your opinion there? Do you feel that as global citizens we have enough power if all of us change behavior and thus drive the corporations to do what is right for the environment? Or do you still believe no, government needs to impose legislation, needs to control, needs to drastically change behavior, because otherwise we're maybe not getting there? Or are you maybe in between? Where do you sit on that kind of range of thoughts that I've discovered online so far?
I think government is definitely an important part of like getting us to make the whole globe friendly, environment friendly, because the government got all the resources. It can like make good, he got the resources to get all the society together to get things done in a better way. So like the government can tell the school to have certain courses, and like the government can like request like museum to show people more knowledge, or like what kind of stuff can be environment friendly. So I think that government should be a part, or it has the power, can play a big role in there. So definitely, and also like you mentioned, they can make some policies, some laws. So definitely we need government support. Yeah. If government do nothing there, and this task can hardly be done, I think. So I definitely support you, like that government should engage in this concept. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but also like I think all the parts, everybody every section should be a part of this. Not only we cannot like say we all expect government to do the whole thing. No, but like all the companies, all the agencies can be a part. Like when it comes to individuals, like I'm a language major student, so what I can do is if I got some environment friendly idea in English world, I can like translate into Chinese world, right? If I'm a law student, I will think about like how to improve our law, right? If I'm I think all the major students, different majors, thinking do something about the environment. So it comes to everybody, all the agencies.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's an ideal way to end the series today. It's indeed for everybody. Thank you, Gavin, for coming in today. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your insights as well and sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.
So yeah, let's go on the journey together and let's make the planet a better place.